Okay, so we're going to talk about hearing loss, which is chapter 14, and we're going to talk next week about visual impairments, all right? Hearing loss is not that long, as you can see, but it's very, very significant because this is one of the definite mild to moderate disabilities that you're going to have and see within your classrooms as a teacher. You may not know it because oftentimes kids don't even know that they have a hearing loss, right? It's kind of like kids with a vision loss. At a certain age, they just think what they see is what everyone else sees. It's normal. The same thing is true with hearing. In fact, people go their whole lives. I would venture to guess that many of you in this classroom have a hearing loss of some kind. You have just adapted to that. Now, our hearing is obviously contained in one of two places, left ear or the right ear. I mean, both. So you could have perfect hearing in one ear, yet you could have a hearing loss in your other ear, right? Do you agree with that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just like your eyes, your vision, it's the same set of circumstances, all right? When we talk about hearing loss, the definition, according to Individuals with Disability Education Act, is that it's a loss that is severe enough to negatively affect education performance. Why is that education performance a part of this definition?
Because if you can still hear to a point where it's not affecting your educational performance,
then you're not considered disabled,
right,
as it pertains to IDEA, that law. Exactly. Okay. The medical definition, however, is a little different in that it focuses on the loss of hearing from slight to mild to moderate to severe, severe to profound. Remember the continuum of disabilities? We have mild disabilities, we have moderate, we have severe and profound. And then the Hearing Society, though, has broken it down into even finer subcategories according to what we just identified. So next section, what is a hearing loss? Well, a hearing is evaluated in terms of what we call loudness and pitch. Loudness, obviously, is the degree to which we speak. Like right now, I am speaking in my teacher voice, which is fairly loud, I would imagine. But the pitch, is my pitch different than, say, Aaron's?
Yes.
Or Derek's, right? Or Derek's. Scott, you said it was Derek.
No, I said he was Derek.
Buffaloed me. All right. Skunking me. All right, so indeed, it is different, all right? Everybody has a different pitch. In fact, mine for a guy is kind of a higher pitch. I mean, I don't exactly have this whole macho voice thing going on for me. But pitch has to do with what we call like resonance, right? When you hear people who have a voice that really resonates, they tend to have you know, a set of vocal cords that really is rich and crisp and yeah, like, well, in fact, I was going to say TV personalities like news anchors, radio personalities. These are people who have rich, resonant voices with a good, significant pitch to their voice, which makes it perfect for the radio broadcast fields. All right. Pitch is, or results from the test are called what we call an audiogram. Okay, this is an audiogram. And we have pitch, and we have loudness.
You mean volume?
Sure. All right, so pitch is charted on the horizontal axis. I actually did it the wrong way, but we can go over here like that. And loudness is on the vertical. So essentially what you would be getting is a point in here. And that is done for each ear. Have you guys ever gone to like the county fair or maybe some health fair, and they have those little boxes where you can do a self-hearing test? I did one of these about 20 years ago, and I realized for the first time that I had a slight hearing loss in my left ear. Now what they do is they have you put on these headphones, right? And you do this yourself. And then there's these 6 buttons, and you push the buttons, and the buttons have to do with loudness and pitch for each ear. So you would do it once for your left ear and once for your right ear. And I realized that this button right here in my left ear, I was not hearing this really high pitch that was really kind of rather subtle and soft. And then over the years, whenever I've had an opportunity to do this little self-test again, I've noticed that I don't even hear that pitch anymore in my left ear. So that obviously has caused me as a person to inadvertently try to compensate for my hearing loss. I notice now at an older age, because I'm approaching 60 years old, when people are talking to me and if there's a lot of noise in the background, I tend to turn my head a certain way. And I don't even consciously do it. I'm just like, what? I subconsciously am making up for that loss of hearing in my left ear and trying to compensate by putting my right ear towards the person who's talking to me. Now, it's kind of funny to me in a way because I don't consider myself to be an old person, but I consider that behavior to be kind of associated with my grandparents. You know, your grandparents are always like, what? You know, and here it is, I am doing this kind of thing. Well, if your grandparents or if your mom or your dad or somebody in your life talks to you, or when you're talking to them, if they're like, what? And they turn their ear, they're going to be tending to automatically turn their good ear towards you. And that one might tell you that, they might have a hearing disability in their other ear, their opposing ear. Angel.
My dad was in the military like 30 years ago, and before they used the
Earplugs.
and so he has no hearing in one ear.
Totally gone.
Totally gone, and so.
So he's legally deaf.
Yeah, so when you talk to him, you always have to be on one side.
My father-in-law, who is now dead, but when he was in the service, he was a gunner on a battleship. Same thing. They didn't have the earplugs, and he did the big guns. And whenever we went to a restaurant where there was a lot of chatter and there's music, we always had to kind of set him in the corner of the room. Why would we do that? Because that would obviously help him hear better. Why did that help him hear? The echoes our voices would come and kind of funnel into the corner so he could tend to hear better, right? And then there, of course, were certain places that he just didn't want to go at all because he couldn't hear anything. And, you know, you'd be talking to him and he'd be like, what? 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 Oh, hell, I can't hear. Quit talking to me.
So why is that you can't hear? I mean, I could probably plug one ear. I don't know, is that different, I guess?
I don't know what you're talking about. Keep going.
I mean,
Give me more information.
You've got one good ear over here.
Right.
However, you can't hear over here. I'd imagine that maybe you could hear something over here.
Yeah, you're not totally. The degree to which you have, if you have a hearing loss, is relative. You know, I have just a slight. I mean, I can hear out of my left ear. There's just certain sounds or pitches, if you will, that are harder for me to hear unless they're very loud.
Well, I'm talking about
Jim?
No, her dad's case where they have to speak into his right ear for him to hear.
Because he is totally deaf in his left ear.
Well, I mean, beyond the fact that, I mean, they could be standing over here. I thought, can't you hear things from over there also? I mean, there's the fact that
in this room where there's no background noise and there's no other distorted noises going on, everyone's hearing is relative. It's different in each ear. I may have, and I don't know that I'm answering your question, Brock. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I don't understand how come it is that like you could be in like a room or something, like a big space, and you hear something and it sounds like it's coming from over here, but really it's coming from over here.
Because your hearing's screwed up.
Like
It happens to me all the time. I know. I was kidding. It has to do with the room. It has to do with the nature of the noise and how it's echoing off of the objects in the room. If you go to, have you ever noticed when you walk into an empty, like a room that has a tile floor and just walls with no furniture or carpeting, that the noises are a lot louder and they reverberate, as opposed to a room that has furniture in it and it's carpeted and has drapes on the walls? Those things tend to muffle the sounds and make the sounds richer and less reverberating. They don't bounce off of things. That's why when you go to a recording studio, not that many of you have been to a recording studio, but some of you have, or if you practice your instruments in a particular, what do they call those rooms over?
Practice room.
Yeah, those rooms. Really funky named rooms there down there called practice rooms. Aren't they acoustically?
They have like big fuzzy blankets hanging up on
Okay,
the wall. Like,
and the purpose is to muffle it and keep the sound from echoing and reverberating. So I don't know if that answers your question,
Yeah.
but it does have to do with the environment. And you're right, it happens to all of us. Yes, Marilyn.
I work at a mine in the summer, so.
At a where?
At a mine.
At a mine?
At a mine in the summer, and we each time the summer students get rehired, we have to go through a bunch of physical tests, and we have to do hearing
Oh,
tests.
sure.
And we get a button.
A button?
A button.
Yes.
And we're not allowed to look at the person who's doing the test to see what they're doing. We can't look at them. We have to be facing the opposite wall.
Oh,
with
yeah.
that button.
Yep.
And that's how they do those tests. And
Yep.
like my dad's half deaf in each ear, and my mom's deaf in one ear.
Right.
And I have perfect hearing, but I still have to read people's lips when
Yeah.
they're talking.
And you know, this audiogram is only, and this type of thing is really just a very cursory, low-level indicator. It's kind of a screening technique. If you indeed have an issue here, then you're gonna go and have an official audiogram test done by, that is more technologically sound, like what you're referring to. Absolutely. Okay. It is very difficult to define hearing disorders because the point at which hearing stops being normal and starts being a disability cannot be stated. It's different with every person. Who are these students? Well, approximately 1.3% of children under 18 have a hearing loss. Prelingual hearing loss accounts for 95% of students who are deaf and hard of hearing. Prelingual hearing loss is what? Hearing loss that occurs before
You learn language.
before your talk, which is linguistics, which is prelingual. Okay, good. Approximately 1.1% of all children ages 6 to 21 who receive special education services are hearing impaired. 1.1%. If you remember, again, that first week of class when I showed you the chart, we had the 15 different disabilities that are identified under IDA. Hearing loss was at the very close to the bottom, 1.1%. What was the top one? That had almost 49.5% of kids with a disability are what? No, that's mental retardation.
LD.
specific
LD, learning disabled, specific learning disability, like dyslexia and math
That's what I was
disability,
trying to say.
that sort of thing. Angel.
In kindergarten, we had a kid who had, who couldn't hear at all. So he had, like hearing aids.
Yeah.
But it was like a speaker, so the teacher also had one. That
Oh,
she was
yes.
speaking. And then he also had a teacher who signed right next to him. And then all of us kids had to learn sign language so that we could talk to him.
Really?
So yeah, we would have a teacher come in for about 10 minutes every day. And
How
just-
sweet is that? Do you remember any?
No.
Yeah.
But
That's the
like
problem.
when you're on the playground, you can tell like, no, that's not the right
Uh-huh.
thing, or just be able to talk to him
Yeah.
at all.
Sign language, my friends, is is considered a foreign language, or they don't call them foreign languages anymore. They call them some other kinds of languages.
Some other kinds.
I don't know, but it actually counts as a foreign language credit should you be going to the university and that sort of thing. So, yep.
What about like with kids that actually need to use sign language? Is that kind of
No, they're not. They don't get scot-free. They have to still take other language things,
That's dumb.
like English. Thank you for that. Okay, guys. Characteristics of hearing loss.
That was the joke.
Language and communication types. Orally communicate. American Sign Language obviously is the communication by sign. And they have simultaneous communication techniques where they could use either oral and American Sign Language. Now, when we're talking about is that a hand up?
Yeah, if a person here knows sign language and they want to travel like abroad. how would
You
they-
took the words like right out of my mouth. I swear I was transitioning to that point. So hang on to it. So if we have American Sign Language and we all learn sign language because we have a hearing impairment, and we go to Europe, and we get off the plane in Madrid, Spain, or Madrid, France, I guess. I'm waiting to just wake you up.
Same place.
Madrid, Lithuania. Yeah, so we're in Madrid, and we get off and we see a police officer there, and we go up to him and we're signing. Is he going to be able to understand us?
Yes.
Why?
He's gonna think we're crazy.
He's going to think we're crazy because he doesn't understand sign language in any language. So we go and we actually find somebody who does sign, and we are talking to them in American Sign Language. Are they going to understand us?
Yes.
Is American Sign Language universal?
Yeah.
No.
No, it is not.
American.
It's American Sign Language. Is this a problem?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would suck, right? So what is happening is am I that funny tonight? You got the giggles. I want the giggles. The giggles is the best thing to have, and I haven't had the giggles in so long.
Ever since that came up,
So, American Sign Language is American Sign Language. We need to learn French sign language in Madrid, Spain, right?
Yes.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes no sense. It would be Spanish sign language, right? Yeah, but guess what's happening? We are actually moving to what's called a universal sign language. So that indeed, if we were to travel anywhere in the world, whether it's China, Korea, Spain, France, wherever, that people would be able to understand us. Now, many of the symbols that we use, Helen, are similar. Helen Keller. Right?
Oh.
You got it. Yeah. Yes,
How's
very
that?
good. Okay, hello. Calm down, I'm losing control.
Even in America, there's different sign language. Like, I know FSL, family orientated sign language.
Like slangs or dialects.
It's basic, it's not even, actually, there's only very few signs that are the same within ASL and FSL.
Oh, okay.
Like, family orientated sign language is what I learned when I was a little kid because they thought I was deaf in
Right.
Texas. And
So it's family sign language you learn.
family
I've
sign
never heard of
language.
family sign language.
It's basically oriented to what your family knows.
Right.
It gets manipulated that way. Like, I can talk to my dad when I'm running in FSL and he understands, but American Sign Language person who does ASL does not understand.
Did not know that. I learned something. FSL. I thought it was all American Sign Language. For those of you who read the chapter, which there's probably none of you, did it talk about FSL?
I thought.
Yes.
There
It's
you go.
an old
I should read the chapter.
FSL is
Yes,
like,
you criticize all of us, but I'm sure.
I've read it. I just haven't read it like recently.
I read it recently.
How would I get this without reading the chapter? It's just been a while, like
Couple, 5, 10 years.
editions ago. What?
it's a very older type of sign language.
Oh, it is. Okay, but the chapter did talk about it. I'm impressed. Good. Thank you for sharing that, Marilyn. All right.
That's it.
You like that? Woke you up, didn't it? Say hi to me for me.
I will.
Okay. Causes of hearing loss. Prelingual, which means,
Before language.
thank you, before you were talking, not prenatal, prelingual. Premature birth or complications could be a cause. It could be a hereditary issue. It could be that your mother during pregnancy had rubella, which is the German measles, or you could have contracted a congenital virus. Listen, this is important for you to know, young men and women. A congenital virus that the baby contracted during the birthing process. Okay? Now, in this wonderful age of STDs, there are on the rampage. There are many STDs that, if contracted and during birth, the baby can contract them. That is a virus. And if it goes undetected, then it can indeed end in a hearing loss or a vision loss or some other form of disability to the infant. So you need to be very careful about your sexual behavior, get yourselves tested, and make sure that you are in good physical health always. How's that for you?
Where's that congenital? Wherever. Where is it?
You're not even looking at
Yeah, you knew where I was going with that, weren't you? Did you find it, Brock? It's at the bottom of the first page. Causes of hearing loss.
I got it.
Postlingual meningitis, infection in the central nervous system, or otis media, which is inflammation of the middle ear or earache. Why would an earache that goes untreated be associated with hearing loss?
Be bacterial.
It could be or viral or bacterial, but it causes damage to the ears, the nerves in the ears, and the little hammer and the other anvil and all those. Those are pointed. No, those are parts of your ear. I'm demonstrating my inner ear knowledge.
I'm with you. No, that's right.
Thank you. You with me, Dave?
Yeah.
You gonna make it through tonight?
Yeah. See why not?
Okay, so those are things that you need to know about. Obviously, teaching practices are there for you to understand. Next week, we are going to be talking about visual impairment. That's going to be our last hurrah, if you will. I do have an assignment for you for this next week that I want you to bring your this assignment with you next week and turn it in to me in class. What is it? Well, guess what? You're going to go hearing impaired, or you're going to go visually impaired.
No, I gotta go here.
Yeah. Okay, it is up to you. I don't care.
In class?
Here, if you choose to go here, visual impaired, you can go put an eye patch over your eye, or you could put it over your glasses, or you, please listen, or if you have glasses or contact lenses, there's any number of things that I will accept. You can go without your contact lenses or your glasses for a period of I want you to go for a period of 4 hours for this project. Or you can take one of your contact out, or you could take one lens of your glasses out. No, I'm kidding. But you can put tape over one lens, okay? Or you can put an eye patch over one lens. You can take 2 eye patches, put them over your lenses, and cut holes in the middle so that you have tunnel vision. Or you can put Band-Aids across the front of your lenses. You looking? On both lenses, so that you have no vision directly in front of you, but you have what's called peripheral vision off to the sides. These are conditions, listen up, these are conditions that are very real and very common in our society. You just don't know it because you can't look at somebody's eye and go, oh, you have a visual impairment. It doesn't show, it's not visible, all right? So, for the purpose of this assignment, I want you to pick a day. I want you to go for a minimum of 4 hours continuously. Yeah, you can't go 20 minutes here, take your earplugs out. You can't, this is not about being convenient.
What about like driving?
Nah, I'm getting there.
Okay.
This is not about being, this is not about being convenient. In fact, the whole idea is so that you get a concept of how inconvenient this is and what it would be like to actually have a traumatic brain injury, suffer from a visual impairment or a hearing impairment that is out of your control, so that you actually have a taste of what it is like. Now, be blessed that you have your sight and your hearing to what extent you do. And when you undergo this thing, I want you to go 6 hours. I want you to go to class. I want you to go to the dining hall and have lunch with your buddies. I want you to navigate campus and keep your impairment in place for a straight 6 hours. Now, if you have a sport, if you're an athlete, or if you're a member of choir or music or something like that, I want you to arrange it so that it's at a time when it will not interfere with those activities, all right? Listen, I do not want you to do it at 4 o'clock through 10 o'clock at night when you're sitting at home on the couch watching TV. That is not considered, that is not considered a part of this. Now, that can be a part of it, but I don't want you to just sit there and do nothing. I want you to actually go out and navigate and try to be a part and of your normal life and conduct your normal activities, okay? So most likely you will do it in the morning hours. If you go into your classroom and you have a hearing, if you choose hearing or the vision, you may want to take a seat closer to the front or in a way that it will, you won't miss the information that the instructor is providing. You might want to also tell the instructor that you're doing a class project for Dr. King and you are temporarily having a visual or a hearing impairment for that day, okay? I want you to then, once the time is over, I want you to write a short summary, half page is fine, a summary of what you experienced, all right? I want to know what you experienced and how you felt and how it made you feel. And I also want to know the obstacles that you encountered. And fourth, the way people treated you, if they treated you any different. Okay, so 1, how you felt, the troubles that you encountered. Yeah, write it down. What else did I say? How people treated you. Yeah. I do not want you to operate heavy machinery. I do not want you, that includes a car. Clearly, I do not want you driving down the street with a patch over one eye or with earplugs. I do not want you operating a bicycle. If you are walking in an area where there's traffic, be very, very careful. So please use common sense as it pertains to this. I have it all on tape, so you can't say I did not tell you or did not warn you.
What happens at the test over next week?
I'm going to talk about the test in just a minute. Okay, any questions about this assignment?
So you just do one.
Bring it into class.
I want you to bring your paper with you to class and give it to me physically.
Next Tuesday.
Is it 4 or 6 hours?
It is 4 hours.
Okay, because you said both.
Did I say?
Yeah.
4 hours.
We
Minimum
have
4.
proof of how
I'm-
confusing
yeah.
it made us.
Minimum 4 hours.
That's not too bad.
Yes, ma'am.
This is the paper and the assignment that you said you tell us about.
That's it.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, righto.
Okay, so we have squishy, mushy earplugs. For those of you who choose earplugs, what you do is you kind of roll them in your fingers so they mush up, stick them in your ear, and allow them to expand, and they will conform to the inside of your ear. Do not try to just stick them in your ear.
Don't
Like
keep
right-
jamming them because.
Okay, you will need 2 of them,
What? No.
Yeah.
You're only partially deaf. Can I be partially deaf?
or if you choose to do the visual impairment, you can take eye patch, or you can modify your glasses or your contact lenses to your heart's desire. Okay. All right. Any questions about the assignment? Here's the. Do you want your eye patch?
You want us doing it in 2 classes, right?
What? Yes, I want you to go to class. I want you to go to the dining hall. I want you to do your normal day.
Anyone want
Yeah,
these?
Dr.
No.
Okay.
Are we? You can't. Okay.
Starting now.
These earplugs will not. These earplugs will not totally inhibit all of your hearing. Pass them around, Brock. Anybody want an eye patch or 2? Okay.
Genius.
All right. If you have friends who missed this class
Eye patch? Anybody?
tonight, have them come see me because they need to do this as well. I will post a message and send an email to them also. Yes, ma'am.
I was wondering, for
Yes, sir.
like,
Yes. What's that for office?
You have a small eye, bro.
Okay, here are your project people. Here's my glasses. I'm hearing impaired. Did you guys get earplugs over there? Who needs earplugs? We're good? Okay. I'm going to give you your outlines back. So Scott. Whatever. Betty, I'm giving this to you because you're the first one. Alex, you got here.
so Brock, you're gonna come see me tomorrow.
Derek Isom.
Yeah.
Lauren and Jim Bob.
1 and 2.
Lauren, where are you?
Right here.
Okay.
Hey, I have to lift the other thing.
And you're not giggling. Okay, Alora. Whitney. Bridget.
That is a good idea.
Brock.
Should probably just take a what?
David. Oh, I'm sorry, Darren. Elisa.
You got it.
It's probably mine.
Wait.
It's not Aaron.
It is.
Get your hands right there.
Angel.
I know.
Craig.
Seeing in here.
Maria. Jamie.
Bro, it's for a class.
Craig's not here.
Well,
You're Maria.
Chill.
And Jamie. Okay. Everybody should have. Whoop, you got it? All right.
Julio.
Okay. Now I am going to go over your exam for next week if you're interested. Yeah? When's your exam?
next